my 50 Shades of Pathological Narcissism webinar, which I'm going to be talking about today, has no relation to the movie or the content of the book and the movie 50 Shades of whatever. But I have a disclaimer. and I'm not embarrassed. I never read the book and I've never seen the movies. So if there is an accidental comparison, who knows? But what I have been trying to do for a very long time, and by the way, after I kind of do my little spiel here, I'll take some questions, but just bear with me. For the longest time, and if you guys have been following me, I've been on YouTube almost 8 or 9 years. I became kind of well known because of my narcissism videos. In fact, if you look at my top 5 narcissism videos, they have been viewed a total of 6 million times. And I started to change, and I started to be less interested in the victim point of view or perspective, less interested in talking about why narcissists are mean, nasty SOBs, which they are, and why we should know as much as we can about it, avoid them, or even fight back. Because I figured out through my own therapy, my own mistakes, and my own willingness to try to figure them out, is that you can never win if you fight back. You can never solve your attraction and your bonding to narcissists if you just learn. I am not kidding or exaggerating. I have had hundreds and hundreds of clients, very smart clients, and they've read books upon books and seminars and webinars, and they kept thinking the more that they learn about narcissists, the better they'll get. And then I found out it became this big industry on YouTube. Oh my gosh. I mean, back in the days, I was like, it's kind of funny because if you would have Googled narcissism, I was always #1 on a Google search. And of course, and then, the whole area just kind of took off. And I'm glad about that because, the more information out there, the better. And I believe that smart people are able to kind of discern, what is good, helpful, or not. But I started to notice that all of my YouTube compatriots, they were just kept focused on what seemed to me the same stuff over and over again. This about narcissists, that about narcissists, the 10 this about narcissists, the, just information. And as I already said, it never helped the victim of narcissistic abuse, who is what I call self-love deficient, who has a disorder, self-love deficit disorder, which if you guys have been following me, represents codependency and the codependent. And you guys, again, this is not the right time for me to go into this, but I have a very, very complete and detailed explanation that the problem of narcissistic abuse does not start with the narcissist. Now, I never blame the SLD or the codependent. And some people get really mad and they write me these angry things. How dare you, blah, blah, blah. I never blame. No one is responsible for abuse or harm that is perpetrated by them by a stronger, more cunning, and more powerful person. Right? No one deserves that. But if you've studied or are familiar with my human magnet syndrome, me, more times than I want to admit, actually, but we keep making the same mistakes over and over again because of our broken picker. Falling in love, as my therapist would say, with the same person with a different face. We fall in love. We recognize these people as our soulmates, as my dad would say, who would become our cellmates. We are the ones who repeatedly, predictably, reflexively pick the wrong person who we believe will change our life for the better. Now, since that's the case, and I believe it's factual, I don't believe it's some like theory or some like a religious belief, because everyone, and I respect everyone's religion, but everyone has a different idea. This idea is universally accepted within the clinical, psychological, mental health, psychiatric fields, and of course, the people that know about it. So if you accept that it's because you are SLDD, your self-love deficit disorder, AKA codependency, you keep falling in love with narcissists, as that is the primary problem to solve to end narcissistic abuse. Then you have to know all about who you are and your SLDD, which is in my Human Magnet Syndrome book, all 250, 60 pages of it. And my YouTube videos and my seminar videos, which are full-length 4 to 6 hour videos that are available at selfloverecovery.com. And that's the first step. And then you learn that there are many layers that explain why you're an SLD, a codependent. And again, this is not the time to talk about that. I got plenty of other videos. And then you learn as much as you can about narcissists. So this is where knowledge and information about narcissists is important. So on one hand, it might seem like I'm dissing those who talk about narcissists and try to teach people things. No. What I am dissing is I sound like a teenager in the 90s. But what I'm saying is that if that's all you got is know enough, know what to do and what to say or what not to say, and everything will be okay. It will be an utter and predictable failure. Absolutely. So that is why, because of so many requests, people requesting, some actually bugging me, and some reminding me to my delight to do something in narcissism. And I did. And I did not take the route that I just told you I don't believe in. What I did was I created a 3-series, 18-hour webinar. In other words, each webinar is 1 day, 6 hours, and they will, be one's on. Don't quote me, but I think it's August 14th, 15th, and then 21st. The first one. And just like all of my work, if you ever read my Human Magnet Syndrome book, and I do recommend it, of course, because I think that's the basis or the starting point of your recovery, is I try to organize everything like I'm telling a story. I like to fit everything into its right place so that by the time you get to the next chapter, you know what you need to know to learn what's in the next chapter. Well, I put together my 3-day webinar series like that, where I talk about the first day, everything you need to know about pathological narcissists and narcissistic abuse. Everything you need to know. This is where I upload all the stuff that I know that is not the same, by the way, as what everyone else says. And you guys who follow me know that I speak sometimes a different language. Hold on, I got to close my door here. The wind is getting it. And again, knowledge is a requirement to this process. The second day, 6 hours of information about why we SLDs get stuck over and over again in relationships with pathological narcissists. It explains what it is, how narcissists implement it, why we fall prey to it, and it goes into an incredible detail: narcissism, gaslighting, and every other concept that explains why we keep making these same mistakes and how we get entrapped through our SLDD and how narcissists entrap us. And the third day, which is the most exciting day, and it's what people have been wanting me to do forever, is a day that is just on what I call the how-to information. techniques, strategies, skills, things that I have developed that you won't see anywhere else, and how to overcome narcissists and narcissistic abuse. So that is going to be an incredibly exciting moment in my career, and I can't wait to do it. And I hope that you guys consider checking it out. We do offer discounts to seniors and students. If you're interested in a discount for those reasons, please write Carolina at help@selfloverecovery.com. Okay, so what I want to do now is take questions about pathological narcissism or anything related to it. Here's the rules, and you guys who follow me know my rules. The rules are no stories and expect me to help you solve something that's going on in your life, because that's like therapy, and this is not the right place. But with that boundary, I say I have compassion and empathy because I know you guys are hurting and there's very little people or resources out there that could help. The second rule is be respectful. The third rule is if you want me to see the question, end it in a question mark. Question mark. Okay. I am not going. So again, looking for question marks because you can't see my screen, but I have words, letters, people just flashing, just going through. And I just want to make sure that I can answer some questions and give you guys some help or potential resources. So, oops, I have this set up here. Okay, so I'm glad some people don't have questions. That's a good thing. Question mark. Okay. Anastasia, as I said previously, I don't want to specifically talk about the discount because that's not, we are giving them out, and please write Carolina at help@selfloverecovery.com. If you can prove that you are a student of any type or that you are a senior citizen, according to the age parameters that we accept in the United States, then we'd love to give you a discount. Carolina at help@selfloverecovery.com. Okay, Susan, why do so many people have different definitions about covert narcissists? That's a great question. And it's a question that has really kind of ticked me off. There are so many people out there who talk about narcissism on YouTube, and very few are mental health providers. To get to a point where you understand complicated mental health phenomena, you have to get at least 6 years of college, including grad school, or 8 years. There's no way that you can get that knowledge and information by taking a coaching course. Now, I do believe coaches are really good and helpful, but these are the people that are writing about things. Moreover, the people that are victims of it. So what I do is I provide a definition that is consistent with the mental health understanding of the mental health fields understanding of the problem. And just like with news, you can't trust anyone. Always check someone's background, their and if possible, their educational background, their credentials, and then make a decision. And by the way, there's a lot of people that are putting out a bunch of crap out there that have a lot of letters after their names. So that's my question. That's my answer. Okay. How can I release my shame and guilt? Well, that's not really a topic for today's discussion, but everything that I do through my self-love recovery treatment program addresses that. I have many full day, 6-hour educational, inspirational, informational seminars that focus on my Codependency Cure self-love recovery treatment program that will help you get information about that. Okay. Dr. Romani are the only ones that are for this topic. Yeah, Dr. Ramani is a really smart one. And to be completely honest, I don't really follow her. I have a hard enough time getting my work done. And one thing that I use as kind of a litmus test for someone's skill level is the information correct? Is it based upon what we already know? And if it's new, does it stand up to what we already know? And then for me, the other big thing, and which is what I don't see a lot, are there solutions that are accurate and effective offered? A lot of experts on YouTube don't do that. They're just very charming people who are smart that talk about the problem. And I've heard great things about Dr. Ramani. And so I believe you that she is a great resource. Okay, question marks. Remember, why are narcissists so animalistic and have no emotions? So those type of narcissists that are animalistic and no emotions. See, I categorize pathological narcissists as one of three disorders: narcissistic personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, and antisocial personality disorder, or sociopaths. Within each of them, I have the subcategories. The person who is animalistic and ruthless are the ones who are sociopaths, who have antisocial personality disorder. The other ones that have many of those same traits are either covert narcissists, the ones who pretend to be nice, loving, and kind, but behind the scenes don't give a crap about anyone other than themselves. Malignant narcissists who are very destructive only after they've risen to levels of trust and have power. And these are the ones that will start hurting others. Okay, Yasi, please let me know if you have a plan or webinar for Hitch in the future. Yasi, great question. I already do. I have a 6-hour healing the inner trauma child and trauma resolution and trauma seminar available at selfloverecovery.com. I don't know if I will redo it because all that information is pretty current still. Things are going really quickly. Isn't this all ASPD? I don't know what that is, but thank you that my approach makes sense to you, Susan. Question mark, Jules. H.G. Tudor is a self-proclaimed narcissist psychopath. He has a wealth of knowledge that's actually bringing a point. Have you heard of him? No, I haven't heard of him, but I know these self-proclaimed, I know a few of the self-proclaimed narcissists. First of all, I believe them. Second of all, they do it to not only exploit others, but to enrich themselves. And if this person is giving information that is helpful and is not hurting people, then of course, I think that's great. But see, you have to know something about me. If I know about, say there is a director who married his 17-year-old stepdaughter and who's been accused of pedophilia, I won't have anything to do with that person, even if that person makes incredibly good movies. So, I have this position of ethics and morality. So, but that's me. Okay. Question marks are questions. What's your opinion of Sam Vaknin? Sam is incredibly smart. He's one of those proclaimed narcissists. And he writes information that people really enjoy and appreciate. He has his own language, and I have my own language. And he has a taxonomy of explanations, terms that people use, but I don't relate to it because it doesn't fit my educational background. So I'm not going to diss the guy because he's giving information that is helping others. It's just very different than mine. But what I do know is the people that follow me, they also follow Sam, which means then there's something that we're both providing people that need help. Okay, question mark. Come on, guys. Give me a question, because it's Friday. Oh, by the way, I am doing another presentation tomorrow for my overseas friends. I'm going to not sleep in, and I think it's tomorrow at 9 a.m. where I live. So it's probably going to be like 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the UK. So if any of you guys are like in the UK, you'll get a chance to talk to me again. Can people become narcissists later on in life? No, actually, absolutely not. It's a great question, Mrs. O. But if you follow my work, read my book, The Human Magnet Syndrome, and of course, believe it, pathological narcissism is created in childhood as a result of severe attachment trauma, severe childhood trauma at the hands of a pretty nasty narcissist. That are the seeds, and that's where the roots are set down, and they will manifest in adulthood. Usually there'll be signs of it in the childhood and adolescence, but definitely it will be full blown by age 27. Broken up, can a person become a covert narcissist in many years? So again, you cannot, covert narcissist falls in, is one of the subcategories of narcissistic personality disorder. And it's a personality disorder. And what we know in the mental health field is personality disorders come from severe trauma, neglect, abandonment, and other sad circumstances that eventually coalesce in a personality disorder that manifests in adulthood. So you cannot not be a narcissist and then become a covert narcissist. What you can do, I don't know if it's the right word, but what happens is you can be a covert narcissist and very believably be for a sustained period of time, seem kind of normal or healthy. But there are some narcissists who have sociopathic tendencies, such as covert narcissists and malignant narcissists, or full-blown sociopaths, those who have antisocial personality disorder. They kind of mold themselves, reshape themselves as much as they have to in order to fit in and not get detected. Karen, aborted fetuses is most packaged. Oh, wait, whatever. That is. Sorry, that one really threw me for a loop. I had to remove that. When SLDs in therapy start to spot narcissists easily, only after attachment. When do SLDs don't need therapy to spot a narcissist? It might seem overly simplistic, but if you go to therapy and focus on yourself, then you will understand what has always been there. You're not going to understand pathological narcissism and how someone is hurting you unless you understand your self-love deficit disorder or codependency. And then everything will make sense. I did a YouTube video and I started off with a film clip of The Sixth Sense, where the kid, and I kind of messed with the audio, and it says, I see narcissists everywhere. And the whole idea of that video is once you start to get healthy, you see them everywhere. And you don't really need any training or education because you just feel their energy. Okay, Lay, how can there be so many narcissists if NPD is rare? Well, who said NPD is rare? You got to be careful where you're getting this information. Please depend on psychological research, legitimate sources. NPD, according to psychiatric, psychological, mental health research, is prevalent in about 5% of our population. Now, I believe it's more because if you guys have followed my human magnet syndrome work, I devised a continuum that represents a scale of narcissism. And if we look at the scale of narcissism, you're going to see that there are many more people than 5% of them in our society. Robert asked, have you heard of oppositional defiant disorder? Oh yeah, I know that a lot. And people with oppositional defiant disorder, that in itself is not an accurate predictor of a personality disorder. What is conduct disorder. Now, a lot of kids will go through, this very one straightforward path. They'll be diagnosed oppositional defiant disorder, and then conduct disorder as a kid. And then it's very likely they will be a pathological narcissist when they grow up. But if you do have oppositional defiant disorder, it can mean many things. And if it is the precursor for the personality disorder, psychotherapy and mental health services can make all the difference. Okay, Susan, I recently had a COVID narc. COVID? Stay away from the COVID narcs, they'll kill you. Or invited with a gift, and when she handed the gift, she put me down. I'm in therapy. So by the way, that's extreme passive aggression. It's unbelievable, passive aggression. And that's not covert narcissism, because covert narcissists are too smart for that. How do you deal with one narcissist smearing your name? Well, Kristen, that is a very complicated question that I cannot answer here because it's too complicated. There's many things you can do and there's many things you can't. And find someone that can weed out all of the intricacies of the situation and empower you, guide you on what you can do, and understand, and this is what I teach, is to not fight when the fight itself is more harmful than helpful. And that's where my observe, don't absorb technique comes in, the induced conversation, the 3-strike boundary rule, the stuff that I'm actually going to talk about on the third day of the webinar. Is Instagram something that adds to the growth of NPD in a person? No, not at all, Jeffrey. A lot of people think that. Pathological narcissism comes from a very, very disturbing and tumultuous and traumatic childhood. If you are a narcissist, you will be drawn to Instagram and behave like a narcissist. If you're an SLD, you'll be drawn to Instagram and behave like an SLD. Or you can be what I call normal, which is have problems, but are healthy in many other ways, and you still will be drawn to Instagram. So Instagram by itself is not a predictor or a symptom of a psychological problem. Now, it could be a problem if that's all you do, and that's your own reality. River Tree, how can we deal with the delusionment of losing so many people as we heal? So River Tree, I don't know if you are familiar with it, is I love to come up with metaphors, explanations for complicated subjects. And one of them is what I call my Surgeon General warning. And if you're from the US, you know that the top doctor in the country is called the Surgeon General. And if you smoke cigarettes, there's going to be a warning on the cigarettes. So I came up with this warning that if you are going to involve yourself in SLDD or codependency recovery, especially the way I do it and help my clients, you are going to lose between 75 and 85% of the friends you thought you loved or you thought loved you. And that's inevitable. That, if you know about ahead of time, you won't be traumatized because you'll see it as a necessary phenomena for you to get healthy and to untangle the bonds that keep you tied into the world of taking care of everyone and not yourself. Hey guys, don't swear only because YouTube gives me these signs. Not every asshole is a narcissist, but every narcissist is an asshole. I don't know, that's a little bit too general for me to comment on, but it is kind of true, though. Susan, why is it who understands NPD? Why is it, my thoughts are that most therapists, and I would guess 75% of therapists who go to graduate school, like myself, to become a psychotherapist are SLDs, just like nurses and other people in helping professions. The good ones get better and healthy. They do what we're taught in grad school is you keep working on yourself. But there's a lot of them that never really wanted to do or understand their own self-love deficit disorder. And if you are blind to your own problem, you'll be blind to other people's problems. And unfortunately, there has been so many people hurt because of that. There's a term that's used, it's called iatrogenic trauma. when you're hurt by the person that's supposed to take care of you. So there are a growing number of therapists who understand this. You just have to like look, find them. And if you were like, God forbid, you were dying from cancer, you wouldn't just go to any other doctor if you had the opportunity to go to a better doctor. Well, this is the same. This is your life, your future. Broken upbeat. Is it common for narcissists to end up in a relationship together? I say this, and please don't take it as a negative thing. You haven't read my book, obviously. Narcissists and codependents are never attracted to each other in a romantic relationship. There are exceptions, but usually those are in movies or people that get connected, hooked up, married because of early pregnancies or arranged marriages. Read my book. It'll help you. And by the way, I smile because a lot of people ask that same question, and that is, to me, normal. Okay. Well, by the way, if you're interested in any of my work, because I have this library, I know I put stuff on YouTube, and I'm glad to do it, and I'm glad it helps people, but the meat and potatoes of my work are within my all-day 4 to 6 hour seminars. And that's where you're going to learn a lot about all these other concepts that I talk about. And you will not only get it in complete detail, but they come with a very detailed handout. All right, guys, I'm going to take, a couple more questions. I'm confirmed. Okay. So yeah, C. McMullen, what you're talking about is a covert narcissist that has implanted himself in a position of power. Sometimes those folks are impossible to overcome. And the best thing you can do is count your losses and get the heck out, really. But it's a complicated situation. And for that, I can't advise you. I'm sorry. Thank you. Channel 1800 dumb. Could someone please tell me what SLD means? And okay, of course someone could tell you, and that would be me. So what I did was I realized a long time ago that the term codependency actually had no value, in that it was originally comes from a disorder that doesn't even resemble what we know about codependency. And it became kind of a laughing stock in the mental health field, and no one really took it seriously. So what I did was I created a term that actually matched the problem. Every codependent I know has a deficiency in self-love. And so I created a name that fits the problem: self-love deficit disorder. The person with self-love deficit disorder, SLDD, is this person who I call the self-love deficient, SLD, the codependent. And with these terms, they fit the work, or what I call my self-love recovery treatment program, or otherwise known as a Codependency Cure. Okay, I'm going to take one more question, guys. Tim K, I turn off the hypervigilance that I experience when I get triggered by narcissists in my extended family when I come to my spouse and children. How do I turn off? Okay, Tim, glad you asked that. I have a wealth of information that is included in my Observe, Don't Absorb work. Some of that is on YouTube, but the extended version is available on a 1.5 hour seminar video at selfloverecovery.com. When you can learn to consciously, through your own decisions, disassociate from the narcissist who's hurting you, because their power is to antagonize you, is to trigger you, to fight them. The saying by George Bernard Shaw is don't wrestle with pigs, you'll get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. Well, that saying, although being funny, inspired me to really understand that you can't really win a fight with a narcissist if the fight is instigated in order to keep you embroiled in something you can never win, that you are not powerful enough and don't have the capacity to understand. Okay, guys, great questions. Probably one of my most focused discussions. Please consider attending the webinar. Just go to selfloverecovery.com, the 50 Shades of Narcissism. There's 3 days. First day is all about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. Second day, 6 hours of why we are SLDs, codependents, and we keep falling in love with narcissists. How do they do it to us? What happens? What do we do or don't do? And the third day are solutions for how to get out of and resolve this problem. You guys are remarkable. And as I say always, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have the support of this community. So please, let's do this together. Let's learn that the only way out is to take care of ourselves. You know, as corny as this sounds, you know, you find out that when you go on an airplane, if you don't put on the oxygen mask if it drops down on your kid first, because if you should put it on your kid and you pass out, what good are you to them? So the only way to solve this problem for you and the sake of your kids and all the generations to come is to find out why you are susceptible to this problem, stuck in this problem, and then solve it. And I do believe my materials will help you with that. Take care and be well.